Hello, this is John Martin for PPG Industries. Today I'm excited to share with you an innovative program called PPG Partners in Education. This innovative program connects PPG Industries with local technical schools across North America to certify students with PPG's technical certification program. Today we're going to talk with Randy Toniolo from PPG Industries and Mike Miller from Indiana County Technology Center. So in just a few minutes they'll share with you about this exciting program.
PPG developed the Partners in Education program with ICTC as they see the need for industry certification for the students. This helps develop them and give them a value-added service and certification for the collision industry. They seen that there wasn't very many out there for the collision segment of the business, so they wanted PPG to partner up with them, develop a program that when they went to a shop, it actually had meaning with them and value to the shop. It's real world. To prepare for the industry, the students in the school learn hands-on trade, exactly what the collision centers use, the techniques, the body work, the painting, and they're held to a very high standard. That way when they come into the industry, they're prepared for it, they understand what the collision centers are requiring, the demands on them, and they can perform some of the entry-level basic skills that the collision centers are looking for. And the students, because they've gone through a training class, understand training and usually accept it very well. For the school to get involved with the Partners in Education program, they have to be certified just like a collision center would be. PPG would come in and certify the shop just as it's a collision center. Do they have clean, dry air? Do they have a spray facility? Do they have the right safety equipment? All the things that's needed in the collision industry today. The instructor himself would go through training that PPG provides. They would be certified and instructed on how to implement the program. PPG also provides curriculum that they would teach from. Then we would go in as the senior year. They have to pass a written test, and then we do a hands-on performance test. And if they pass that, they become blue level certified to move on into the industry.
The Partners in Education program, what it has done for me, my program and also the school, has brought that real-life certification from industry into my program. Actually has given a lot of credibility to my program. Not only has it made an impact on the students, the parents, community, and the employers in the area. Now, whenever those students, whenever they receive that blue level industry certification, right away it has saved the employers in our area money, because whenever they have a new hire, they actually have to send them to the training, the same training that they receive here. And through that, we have it set up in a 2-year training program here at ICTC with PPG. And the training that they receive is the same identical training that a new hire would receive in industry. So that's why the credibility of that certification is there. And whenever a student receives that certification, that's telling our community and our industry leaders they are the cream of the crop. We have career interviews here in May, and our employers are looking for that. And whenever the students have that part of the resume and so on, they are hired, because the employers know how rigorous this program is and what they have to go through to get that. And this is not a rubber stamp, but it is the crown jewel. And I'm going to tell you what, the students talk about it, and whenever they get it, you could see in their faces whenever they pass that they just like won the Olympics, because whenever they look at that, they go, oh, I did it. So, I mean, big impact and a credibility goes a long way. I had a young lady several years ago, I want to say probably about 8 years ago, okay, and she obtained the Partners in Education Blue Level Industry Certification. And I could just remember that day, she didn't think she made it, but she achieved it and was actually crying whenever she received it. And a little later on, she was dating a young man who was going in the service. He was actually going into the Navy. And she was working in the local dealerships in our area, but they got married, and one of his first stations was in Italy. And I received an email from her, and she said, Mr. Miller, can you please send me a letter of recommendation? I'm going to a BMW dealership, and I'm getting my resume package together. And I said, absolutely, Jess. So I sent her a letter of recommendation, and here part of her resume was the PPG Blue Level Industry Certification. And whenever she applied for the position, now remember, this is in Italy, so the portability of the certification just isn't national, it's globally, okay? So whenever she had emailed me back, she said, Mr. Miller, I want to thank you. I got the position. And the general manager of this dealership was so impressed that I had my PPG Blue Level Industry Certification, he couldn't believe it. So there's another impact that not only national and locally, state, national, but globally. This young lady was in Italy, and it was recognized in Italy. But as far as success stories, so many I could think of over the years that I could tell you about. But there's one thing that I can say about this certification is it drives the students. It motivates the students. I don't even have to do anything but present it, because we've been with the program for the past 10 years or so, and the students look up to the other students and they watch them. Those students talk about it, they want it. Even though there's stringent regulations and rules that the students have to follow, they can't have any disciplinary measures. They have to maintain a certain GPA in the program, the days and so on, their skill sets. But it drives them, it motivates them, because you know what, whenever they make it, they can say, I'm the best.
Hi, now that Mike and Randy have shared some critical information on the program with you, let's take a quick tour of the shop, and Mike's going to share with us how to set up the program and perform the hands-on testing that's part of the requirement for the Partners in Education program. So Mike, let's take a look at it.
Hey, welcome to Indiana County Technology Center. I'm Mike Miller, I'm the collision repair instructor here. First of all, I'd like to welcome everybody that being part of the PPG PI program. And today's instructional part of this video is going to be to show you how to set up your program area for this performance test, okay? There's actually 8 parts of the test. We're going to go through those parts, and then we're going to give you some hints on setup too as well. The first thing you want to do is just on your front table, you have this area set up for your hand tools, your blocks, and your sandpaper for the repair that will be done on the fender that the students need to do, which is part of the test. If you follow me down this way, I'm going to show you the setup that we have here. That'll be very similar. It doesn't have to be the same thing, but you'll be setting yours up basically the same way, just maybe a little differently. A varying deck system is one thing that the students will need to have, and I'm sure everybody has one at this point. You'll need a sun gun, you'll need a varying deck, and also a touch mix system, because the car that you will have will be a live project, and the students will actually have to do a blend on their fender and actually match the color to the fender or card it to the car, because the car will be the same color as the fender that's pre-painted prior to the test. So a varying deck system is something that's very important. Here we have our area set up with the stands, and the stands are fender stands we actually made ourselves. For those of you who don't have the stands, just a quick note on this, we actually ordered some square tubing and made it a project for the students that welded them together, and now we have our stands. To purchase these, they could be kind of expensive, but we made our own here in-house. Now the fenders that we have here, these were painted about a week ago, and the reason that they are pre-painted is so that naturally they have time to cure and set up and so on. And what we have to do, part of the test, is they have to have a 4-inch scratch on the front of them. Now when you look at these fenders, they are to be blended. This isn't a complete refinish on a panel. These are blends, so the students have to make that repair in the front of this fender, keep it minimal, and then they have to have that middle area for their blend, and then naturally to clear it. So this will be a blend here. The repair will be in the front. They'll have to go through the etch primer, because whenever they feather this, it'll be bare metal. They'll have to do the etch primer, they'll have to do the primer surfacer, and then naturally they'll have to guide coat it, okay? Now just another quick hint, if you get a hold of your LKQ company that sells parts, if you call them and let them know that this is for the PPG PI performance test, they will get you fenders relatively inexpensive. I think I got these fenders here for like 25 bucks a piece. And then what else I do also with these fenders is I use them the following years with the juniors for basically the same type of practice. But these are brand new fenders. They're primed once, they're sealed, they're based, and they're cleared. And it's waterborne. So we use the EnviroBase, the waterborne. So this is the setup here that you would have for the fenders. Make sure that you have enough space in between. All their hand tools and that they would need, you would have up on a front bench to kind of help expedite things. If you look, follow me over this way, we have this area set up for the masking. Now, this part of the masking gets done by estimating. Now, the students will receive an estimate. It'll be a 2-panel estimate, and it's typically like a left front fender, and it would be a left front door. And the damage that is on there, I just simply type it up on the CC1 pathways, and I'll just pick a corner of each car, and then that way there the student has it. If you need more cars, depending on the number of students you have, you can have a couple of cars or multiple cars in there to help things move along quicker. And then also in the back, you would have a quarter panel, then you would have the left front door. And opposing one, the right quarter panel and the right front door. So you understand how it goes. So you could actually keep 4 students busy on one car. And then they would receive an estimate, and they would have to read off of that estimate in masking the vehicles. One thing that we have on there that years ago, whenever we were creating this, we had some industry leaders saying, please have them read the estimates because we're having problems with our techs reading them. So there'll be R&I on the estimate and so on. So the student actually has to read the estimate. And if there is a part on the car where it's remove and reinstall, the student will take a piece of tape and just put a tape on there indicating that they know that that would be removed and reinstalled. Same thing with like a body side molding or mirror and so on. So therefore, the student actually has to read the estimate in masking. Okay? Okay, great. So that would be our masking part. And if you follow me, we're going to come into the paint booth here. And whenever that student is done with his or her fender, they'll be bringing their fender in the paint booth. And what we usually have set up is a table. Our guns are ready. Naturally, well, we go through and make sure that the spray patterns are fine and they're spraying really well. And then we also have our table set up for our products. We have our etch primer on here. We have our primer surfacer on here. We have our clear on here. And we have our EnviroBase, what they will be mixing. So everything is done prior to. And also what I do is the day before the test, the students will also help me set this up, so you're not trying to do all this by yourself. So it's actually fun. The students like to set it up, and actually it gets them thinking about their testing for the next year. Okay? If you follow me out this door, we're going to go into the mixing lab, and I'm going to show you what we have for the touch mix. So a touch mix system is something that you will need, and if you come in this way, this is a typical touch mix. Whenever the students come in, naturally the car that they have in the shop, they're going to have to look at the paint code, find the paint code on the car. They'll have to come and look that paint code up. They're going to have to go to the formula, and what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to find that variant deck card out of the variant deck system. And you know as well as I do, there could be 2, there could be 4, 5, 6 variants to that color. So that student has to find that variant deck card. They have to go car to the car and pick out that variant, and then they'll come back into your mixing lab and pick the proper one, the proper variant, and then they'll mix 6 ounces of paint for their blend job on their fender. So after they do that, they'll mix it using the scale. They'll take that, then they'll go back into the paint booth, and then that's the color that they will use in doing their blend on their fender. And then the PPG reps, as they go through, they've been through this, they understand the system, they know when to bake the finishes and so on. So the whole, I want to say the whole performance test, you could probably 4.5 hours is what you'll have invested in it. Okay. Okay. Hey, thank you guys. If you have any questions, I'm sure I'll be talking to you soon. And if not, this is Mike Miller from Indiana County Technology Center. I thank you and good luck with the program, and you will find out that it is an excellent program. I've had it for quite some time. It does motivate the students and encourage them, and it has standards that the students love and they love to follow. Thank you guys. Good luck with everything.
Hi, thanks for joining us today. And on behalf of Mike Miller and Randy Toniolo, we appreciate you taking a few moments of your time to learn more about the PPG Partners in Education program. If you'd like additional information, contact your local PPG Territory Manager today and ask him about the Partners in Education program. And thank you for being with us to learn more about this exciting innovation.